Good evening, Dean Davison, live weatherblogs.com student meteorologist. We're heading on the 9 p.m. hour here doing the overnight outlook. Let's take a look currently at our current surface map. We have a cold front laying across the Midwest with a area known as a dry line starting to set up in this general location. What that will do is make the instability even worse for the rest of the evening here in Oklahoma and Texas. We'll take a look now at the watches for the area. There was actually a tornado watch in effect. We got a tornado watch in effect here in parts of Oklahoma and northern Texas. Just north of Abilene area, you can see there's some cells that were forming up. We have moderate risks for wind and hail and even tornadoes, and a low risk for EF2 plus tornadoes. Not to say that they cannot happen. This current radar picture, as you see, there's only one cell and it's not severe this time in this area. The dry line, sometimes it's hard to break a cap. And if we get the cap broken, we're going to have an issue in the area. The tornado watch is in effect 10 o'clock, and that's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock our time, so another 2 hours or so. So we still can see the probability of tornadic development. In the 12 Zulu, you see the dry line has created itself here. You got some moisture pumping in from the Gulf of Mexico into the area, low level jet. You have the energy here from the low pressure system. Those two cross, and this area becomes now the risk for the tornadic activity. We'll continue moving on. You see the dry line stay in Texas, so that would be south of Dallas. Southwest Dallas will still be an area that you want to keep an eye on for possible tornadoes. And that dry line stays in pretty much in a location, and the severe weather threat gets increasingly worse as you get into there the next couple of days, as you'll see here on the severe weather threat. You see the high pressure then moves off the coast. We get a return flow and warm weather here in the eastern United States, 2/3 of the country. Severe threat Saturday goes all the way from Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, all the way down here to the Mexico-Texas border. And like I said, most probable area for tornadic activity is going to be where this low-level jet hits the low-pressure system. So it's going to be here in the area of Oklahoma, Texas. And in that area, it's going to be most probable for tornadic activity, where your winds and damaging winds and hail are going to be a little further north and all the way through the area. So tornadic probability, I will cut this in half, is in the southern half. Not to say that the northern half can't get tornadoes, just to say that there's a better threat here near the dry line. Sunday we still have a threat here in Arkansas and in Texas, and we do have a slight isolated risk here in the Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley here. Illinois, Indiana, isolated chance of severe weather. Once again, high winds and hail are going to be the biggest threat now on Sunday, with tornadoes being an outside risk. Look at the tropics, we have Richard, which has 45-mile-an-hour winds at the time. We have an area that has 30% chance of development out in the Atlantic. This will be on the satellite picture. This is still not very well organized. This other area is 0%. Very, very, very unlikely we're going to see this develop into anything. This would have to get its act together and move to the west to even be in a better environment to do so. Take a look at Richard. The official track brings it now somewhere in between Belize and southern Yucatan here, comes across and puts itself as back into the Gulf of Mexico now by Wednesday. What will it be by then? It's got to go across a lot of mountains and a lot of land. We do have a hurricane watch in effect for northern Belize and parts of southern parts of the Yucatan in Mexico, and tropical storm warnings in effect for the northern part of Honduras and Nicaragua. Typhoon Migi slowly progressing north here. We're going to see landfall probably around 3 o'clock our local time tomorrow afternoon as a Cat 1. Definitely a lot lower than the 180-mile-an-hour winds it had prior to making landfall in the Philippines. Let's take a look at a satellite picture of Migi. You can see a lot less central density overcast here, just small around the center. But we're going to get a lot of rain here in the southern parts of China. So flooding is going to be the biggest concern, especially when they run to the mountains. And Taiwan isn't out of it either. I think they're going to get more rain before this is all said and done, as it slowly progresses to the north and makes landfall. Okay, satellite picture now of Richard. Richard's actually looking rather good for what it was. It has a good outflow. This is a lot better than what it's looking like before, this outflow is good. You can see it on both sides breathing, which could make this a hurricane, which is what it's expecting to do by the National Hurricane Center. And you can see the general movement is to the west, the 4, barely moving, but it's going to take that west-west-northwest path and make landfall in this general area before coming up and re-emerging in the Gulf of Mexico. What will it be in the Gulf of Mexico? That's something that we have to really keep an eye on in the next over the next week or so, and find out where it actually becomes of Richard, if it stays a storm or if it actually becomes a hurricane. If it becomes strong enough hurricane, it would take a longer to weaken, which could make it something when it comes back out. But by that time, we may have something going off the Americans, the southern U.S., that will be shearing anything that comes into the air to nothing. So we have to keep an eye on it. We'll take a look now at the computer models real fast for Richard. Computer models actually have a general consensus now of where it would go in the next 72 hours, and Belize looks to be in the path of it, for sure. We have the HWRF and the GFDL still being playing in the north, GFS playing right down the middle, and no gaps playing for the southern track. A lot of these are now putting this back out in the Gulf of Mexico. Like I said, as what we'll find out, this pulls it back down 28 miles an hour, which would be less than a depression. But 2 of these models push this back towards the Americans, southeast U.S., Gulf of Mexico. What would that mean if it re-emerged and actually became something? The shear isn't bad. It could be a threat, I would say, at least from Louisiana to the east. And even if it doesn't become something, even if it becomes, this could become just a regular low that could develop into a nor'easter. So this is something that you really have to look at. Even if it doesn't become tropical in nature, this could reset up as when it hits the jet as a non-tropical low, as a nor'easter, and actually cause havoc further up the coast. So this is some things we have to watch and see what happens with it. So don't play Richard out at this point from effects on the United States. Maybe not as a tropical system, but maybe as just a surface low, nor'easter type of low, if it gets that far north. So a couple things to keep in the back of your mind as we talk about this in the next few days. Alright, let's go to the Roanoke Valley and Triad forecast. Freeze warnings in the Appalachians tonight. We have frost advisories east of Blue Ridge, Lynchburg included, Bedford included, Charlottesville included, and Whitfield and Bluefield looking at the freeze warnings. Temperatures will get low tonight. Let's take a look at the greater Roanoke Valley. Very cold overnight, 35 degrees, morning frost, but warming up to 74 on Saturday. 74 on Sunday with mostly sunny skies. It's 55 with a slight chance of rain Sunday night. 74 on Monday, 57 Monday night, 76 with a chance of showers on Tuesday, as we'll get into more of an unsettled pattern by the beginning of next week. Alright, now let's go to the Triad. Also under a frost advisory, 37 degrees overnight, 74 on Saturday, 76 Sunday, fog Sunday night, 58 chance of showers through Tuesday. Here in the Triad, also getting to a little bit of an unsettled pattern beginning of next week. So that's your weekend outlook here on the liveweatherblogs.com overnight outlook. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will be back tomorrow with more. This is Dean D. Davison, liveweatherblogs.com. City meteorologist. Have a great evening.